Hi, welcome to a brief tutorial on Ableton's interface. If you first start out, you're going to be seeing this kind of really cluttered layout, and it's really confusing at first. But once you kind of get into the routine and how everything is, it makes it really easy to get your ideas flowing. So the first thing that it kind of helps us do is to divide it into 4 different sections, and they can all be manipulated with the buttons and the toggles on the side. So this is the browser section here on the left. This is on the right here. We have your session and arrangement views. You change them with the buttons on the top right, and the bottom left you have this like a little triangle thing here. This is for your device and your detailed view of your devices. And on the left, this is a really useful window, and I've kept it open for a long time when I was first learning this program. It's your hide view for your information and your help view. So it's really good to kind of, like, if you hover over anything, it'll give you like an information overlay of what that is that you're like hovering over. So to get started, we'll go to our browser, your lunchbox, your toolbox, whatever you want to call it. There's like different categories and just your places, but the 3 that we really need to focus on in your categories is your instruments, your audio effects, and your MIDI effects. To kind of help you understand like what these are, think of your instruments, your MIDI, which is musical instrument digital interface, and these are what the things are going to make sounds for your sessions here. Then you have your audio effects, and to think about this, it's your effects that affect your sound, audio effects. Then MIDI effects will affect the instruments. They're effects that change the way it's played, and we'll get into these ones later on as we talk about this stuff. So in the center of your interface here, you also have your drop files and devices here section, or your session view here, and these columns here, they are divided into MIDI and audio, and these are called your tracks. So your MIDI tracks and your audio tracks. MIDI is where your instruments will go, and audio, these tracks, this is where your raw audio samples will go. So we'll just kind of start off with another thing too, of these tracks is they're divided into MIDI sections, or the MIDI from sends at the bottom here, and then you also have your panning, your volume on this slider here, and your track activator, solo option here, and your arming button here. And the way that these kind of work out is that your track activator, if the instrument is playing, you can click it on and off. It'll keep playing, but if as soon as you click the activator on or off, it'll turn it on or off. It'll kill the sound from it. Solo will only make that instrument or that track play. So if you're playing your whole arrangement and you click your solo button, only the ones that are highlighted will actually be heard. You can have more than one playing if you want. And if you ever bring in a sound or something and you want to play it on your keyboard or something, you want to make sure it's armed. Sometimes you'd be playing your instrument or playing your audio sample and wondering why it's not making any sound, if you're soloing it or something like that. And it's because it's not armed. And we'll get into this right now, actually. So we'll start off with to bring in a synth, right? So we'll go to our instruments over here in our browser, and we'll click the operator, which is my favorite synth. So we want to make sure it's armed. And another thing too is a little tip is to actually lower the volume a little bit, because it's better not just for your ears, and you don't want to blast it and like wear out your ears over time, but it's also easier for you to balance your sounds and mix down later on of your processes. So now we double click it, and it fills up into our bottom section here, the detailed view, and also in our track, the MIDI track. So that's the first MIDI track that we have there. It has all these little parameters in it, and we'll dive into in another video. But for now, we're just trying to get the idea of how everything works in relation with another. Sorry. So now that we have this here, it's armed and everything, we'll just play some notes here. Arm it and play it. Yeah, so this is like your initialize patch, and there's a bunch of other things you can do. You click the side here, you click down, there's all these presets that you can choose from, and different ones that come pre-programmed to play the presets. So if you want to bring in like a piano or something, just like something like that. Personally, I don't really like to deal with this stuff because like they don't really sound that good sometimes. They work then. If you find a sound that's really good and you can make it work, that's all the power to you. But I like to make my sounds originally, and this is just the initialized patch, and we'll just work with this from now. So a basic thing we can do is to increase this to increase like the width of the sound. Over here we have a spread option, and so if you turn it up, it'll actually like widen your sound, and this is what it sounds like. So this is originally, and we turn it up a bit. Yeah, so you can hear it kind of opens up a lot more. Now we have kind of like our sound that we want to use, and to kind of go down the list of things, we have the audio effects. You can actually add an audio effect on top of this instrument. So it's not exclusive where your audio effects will only go into for audio, but you can actually apply it to your instrument. So for this case, we'll add an overdrive on top of it to give it a little kind of grittier sound. It's really strong, so we'll just turn it back down a little bit here. Just kind of tweak around with it to get that sound just a little bit duller, but still kind of there, I guess. Something like that. Oops. There we go. Okay. So we have that there to kind of give us like a more fuller sound, distorted sound, whatever you want to do, just to kind of get you the idea that you can add audio effects on top of your instruments as well too. Now another thing we'll do for the audio, so this is we'll have that playing as the MIDI section there. Now we'll go to the audio column. This is where you can drop your raw audio samples, and you can even record from your mic directly into Ableton if you want. But any sound you want, you can sing, you can get a vocal sample, you can get a drum sample, and anything you want. You can throw a whole song in there if you want, and then manipulate it as far as you want. So I guess we'll just kind of go through some samples here that I have, and we'll grab this one here. Sorry, okay, so I had trouble finding the file, but it's this one here. Cool. So we'll grab that sample, and it's actually a .aif file. I don't know what that is, but I'll show you. In column 3, track 3, column 3, in the center here, we'll drag and drop it in there, and you can see, and that's how easy it is to actually throw it into place. And now we can even look at it further and manipulate the actual waveform down here, within the clip waveform view at the bottom on the right. So just for the thing here, I'll put into Complex Pro. I'll get into all these different warping patterns later on, but just for now, we'll have it playing. Now we can just play it, and we'll count in. It's really quiet. There you go. I should turn it up a little bit more. Really cool singer. You find her on SoundCloud. She has all these like samples that she gives out for free. Anyway, so we have that in combination with our synth over here, playing this, and that. Now, cool thing is now I don't have to always play my instrument. I can actually record my playing by just clicking this record button here. So in each individual column or track, you have the option to record it, so long as it's armed, right? You need to make sure it's armed before you can actually record anything, and it has to have your proper external input, so your microphone. But if I arm my MIDI track here, my operator, I can click this button and it'll count down, and I can play it and it'll record it into a clip here. And so I'll do that right now. So something like that. It's really rough, but I'll kind of stretch it out here and bring them here. And this, so in like how you have in your audio section here, you have the option to view your device, your effects section, and your waveform. For the operator at the bottom right, you also can toggle between your devices and even the actual note editor, your piano roll, whatever you want to call it. You can draw your notes in here, whatever you want, like that. So what we've done is we just played it, and we can now just hear the notes that we put in, and I'll solo it so you can see it, and that's how you use like the soloing options there. Now what we can add is also the MIDI effect on top there. So if we go over to on the left, we'll add a chord on top, and this will help you playing the sound. So originally it's like this, but if we shift the first knob down to -12, which is a whole octave down, it adds a whole octave to play while you're playing. Like that. And it's interesting because now I have a whole octave playing underneath my limited keyboard range on my keyboard here. If your controller only has like 24 notes or whatever keys on it, you have the ability to play a bunch of octaves lower or higher than what you want. I can even set it to +12, a whole octave on top. Like that. Then together, when you get them going, now I want to get into the return tracks now. So in the what we have over here is in the middle area we have our MIDI tracks and our audio tracks, but they can all be routed into something called a return track. And at the return track, these are basically audio effect tracks. Your signal from your instruments and your MIDIs and your audios, they all can be routed into a single audio track if you want to keep a uniform effect on. So right now the default ones that we have are A and B, a reverb return track and a delay return track. So if I wanted to, I'm going to take the operator and just send it to return track A. So I'll play it along, but I'll send it as I'm playing it. And you can hear it going through that reverb that's over in the track here. See? And you can manipulate the sound here. You add more effects if you want to as well, but I'll send it to B. And this gives you a really good option to, again, keep a uniform effect on numerous tracks that you're sending into it. So I'll even add it to the vocal sample now. I'm going to add A and B and send them all into your A's and your B sends. So together it'll sound like this now. So sound like this. Yeah. So that's kind of like your introductory tutorial video on how you can maneuver yourself through Ableton's otherwise overwhelming interface here. Just kind of imagine it into 4 different categories. You have, again, your browser, your main section here, your view, your arrangement view, and your session view. We'll get in a later date. We'll get into this view, but for now, just kind of work with this. And then you have your bottom detailed view of your devices and your actual your node editor or your waveform editor and your help view. And that's it. Bye. Bye. Hope you liked the video, guys. I wasn't able to cover everything in full detail, but hopefully I'll be able to get to them in the coming tutorials. If you found this helpful, feel free to leave a comment below, and if you need any questions answered, I'll be more than happy to try and help you with them. And if you're not busy, check the other links on the side. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to cover for today, was just the basic layout of Ableton. Thank you very much. Bye.